Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are back at the residences of the Soleil located in Freeport, Montego Bay. And we'll not only be looking at a condo that is available for rent, but while we are on the topic of rental properties, we'll actually be looking at ways to avoid letting your emotions get the better of you when renting a property.
So, you have done it. You have finally made that life-changing decision after much consideration to move out of your parents' house. And while this can be a very exciting time in your life, it can also be a very intimidating one. One that is filled with a ton of emotions. And emotions can actually get the better of you. And with that said, here are some ways to avoid letting your emotions get the better of you when renting a house. First things first, you'll want to be prepared in advance. So before you actually start your rental search, you will want to make a list of the features that you need and the ones that you want for your new home. This will pretty much help you to stay focused on the practical aspects rather than getting swept up in all of your emotions. The next thing you'll want to consider is keeping a budget. Now, it's really important that you set a realistic budget for what you'll be spending on rent. Do not, I repeat, do not let your emotions cloud your judgment and make you overspend on rent that you realistically can't afford. Another thing that you will want to consider in order to avoid letting your emotions get the better of you is not letting your first impression rule your final decision. The first impression may not always be the best one, and you shouldn't let your emotions influence your overall final decision based on initial impressions of a property that you've seen. Keep in mind that there may be others out there that might be better suited for you and your needs. You'll also want to do some research on the neighborhood to ensure that it is going to be meeting your expectations, your requirements. It will check the boxes of your needs and wants. Some things you want to consider with that is that it is safe, it has a low crime rate or no crime, ideally. It is close to your work, close to shopping plazas, hospitals, stuff like that you may want to consider when selecting a rental property. I would also recommend that you compare multiple properties so that you can actually ensure that you are getting the best deal that there is out there. You don't want to just settle on one and then end up regretting your decision later. Now, with that said, I would also recommend that you keep an open mind. Don't let your emotions cause you to miss out on something that could be a potentially great rental opportunity. I would also definitely recommend that while you're conducting your search, that you are to take notes. Make sure that you're jotting down, your likes, your dislikes about each property that you're viewing, pros and cons, stuff like that, so that when you are going back over everything later, you're reevaluating everything in your downtime, you have some notes to refer to. Another thing, I would also say that you should consider looking beyond the aesthetics of a property. Now, it may not be everything that you want right at this moment. However, you can actually turn a house into a home. You can make it your own. You can do things to it over time, of course, with the permission of the landlord. Once that's all squared away in writing, then you can definitely do whatever tweaks, updates to it. So don't get caught up in what it looks like right here and now. You can definitely make changes in the future once it's approved. And pretty much don't let your emotions get the better of you in the moment when looking at the aesthetics of a rental property. You need to look at what the potential long-term implications could be of your decision. Now, this could include the location, the terms of your lease, the reputation of the landlord. Let's start there. If your landlord has a reputation that isn't so great, I would probably avoid renting that place just because it could become really problematic down the road. As for the terms of your lease, I would also recommend that you have an attorney review your lease just to ensure that there's nothing in there that isn't out of the norm. You'll also want to really consider the location. If you know that the location may not work for you down the road, then probably don't go with that rental property. Location is key. Following up from that last point, do not ignore the red flags. If there are any red flags during your rental search, don't ignore them. Take them for what they are at face value and seriously investigate them further. Because what you see today as a potential problem could become a greater issue down the line. So again, don't ignore the red flags. Take it very seriously and ask as many questions as you need to come to a final decision. So another thing I would recommend is not being afraid to negotiate. Whether it be on the rent or the terms of the lease, if you feel that something is perhaps unreasonable or they just don't quite meet your needs, then have a discussion. You never know where it may lead to. It could actually work in your favor. So yeah, don't be afraid to negotiate. I would also strongly recommend that you evaluate the landlord. Yes, this is a two-way street. They're not just evaluating you, you need to evaluate them. So you're going to evaluate their professionalism, their responsiveness, whether or not they have a good reputation as a landlord. All of these things really do matter because, yeah, they could end up being your landlord for at least a minimum 1 year period, potentially. So you really want to have a good idea of who it is that you are going to be renting from. Do not let your emotions cloud your judgment. Just because a first impression was seemingly a decent one doesn't mean it's going to be a lasting one. I would absolutely recommend that you take your time. Do not rush into a rental agreement. Carefully evaluate not just the property, but the landlord as well as the lease agreement. When going through your lease agreement, make sure you read it thoroughly, and if you need clarity on anything, seek out clarification, whether it be from the landlord or if you want to take it a step further and hire the services of an attorney to review your lease. I would absolutely recommend that if you're not sure about what it is that you are potentially signing to. But do not sign to anything until you're absolutely comfortable with the terms laid out before you. I would also suggest that you consult with family and friends. Ask for advice, ask for feedback on the properties that you are considering. And if you are not already using the services of a realtor, feel free to ask a professional. This will definitely help you with making a well-informed decision. So, with all of that said, when you are out there looking at your very first rental property and not wanting to let your emotions get the better of you, few final things that you'll want to do: prioritize your needs over your wants when evaluating rental properties. Do not let your emotions override logic. Always make decisions based on facts and practical considerations.
Now let's get into a couple of details about this unit that is available for rent. It is a 3-bedroom, 3.5 bathroom condo with just over 2,000 square feet in size. The bathroom features a oversized shower, porcelain wall tiles, and dramatic overhead LED lighting. And this kitchen will have you wanting to release your inner chef. With its quartz countertops with stylish integrated backsplashes, you'll be in here all the time. This condo has a lot to offer with its built-in cabinetry, climate control air conditioning, 9-foot high ceilings, and uninterrupted porcelain tile throughout the entire suite. You can't go wrong. But it doesn't stop there. The residences of the Soleil features all the amenities of high-end resort living. Not only will you have access to concierge services, you can actually book the lounge for a private meeting. And the property also features 24-hour security, a pool, tennis court, beach park, spa, gym, and children's playground. So as you can see, there is a lot that one can do here while living at the residences of the Soleil. If you want to book a tennis court for a few friendly matches with friends and family, or just simply sit out on the beach park and read your favorite novel, it really is up to you. There's so much to do. Just remember that when you are in the process of making a decision, try not to let your emotions get the better of you. As always, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.